Okay, so Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, Chirag. Chirag, like all time, you just need to once confirm if everybody is able to hear me, see me, and see the slides.
Yes, sir. I think mostly, at least I
Okay,
am able to see, I am able to
yes.
hear,
So I
and I
think,
will.
yeah, so I think others will also be able to see. Okay, so thank you, Chirag. Um, so thank you very much for handing it over to me. And I would also like to, especially thank all of you and the organizing team for painstakingly organizing these online sessions week after week, for the benefit of everybody. And to all the participants, I welcome all of you once again this Friday. And it's my great honor and privilege to be amidst all of you. And though we are having challenges of the corona lockdown, yet we all are trying to take advantage of technology and hear something which can be of real value to our life. I hope all of you are doing safe. All of you are safe and doing good at your respective places. Hope you and your family members are all healthy, and hope you are using your time constructively. With this, let us begin this session. So, as Chirag rightly said, last time we did part one of this session wherein we covered conditions. So, let's very quickly see what we did last time. So, first we began with the whole flow. Ever since this online Spurti has begun, the very first thing which we did was why Krishna. Then we talked about, okay, what about all the other gods? Then we talked about what is the essence of knowledge and what is the topmost knowledge. And then we talked about when this knowledge actually culminates in action, and the ultimate perfection of this knowledge is actually loving Krishna. We saw all that, and then in this particular session I just wanted to bring your focus back to the flow, right? So somebody may say, if you remember, that's what I was telling last time, that somebody may say, okay, intellectually we are convinced, yes, we have to practice Krishna consciousness, we have to make God the center of our lives, we have to love Krishna, we have to serve Krishna and everybody else in connection with Krishna and things like that. But yet sometimes people, we do not get enough determination to be able to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, and so on and so forth. So in this session we thought of giving it a different angle, right? Let's try to observe certain realities of this world, and let us see if that actually motivates us to practice spiritual life very thoroughly, right? So we saw in the last class, that we want unlimited enjoyment, but we see these three things in this world. We see there are conditions imposed on our body, certain restrictions or certain constraints, that we are put to, because of which we can't enjoy unlimitedly. Then in today's session we'll see that there are certain conditionings in our mind, and there is also cutthroat competition, the environment, because of which our goal remains a dream. So we then saw how pain is, good or bad. We saw how it is a symptom of something wrong. So therefore, all these conditions which we see in this world, they are actually, in one sense, Krishna's love for us, because this helps us to understand something is wrong. Then in the last session, we also saw how this world can actually be seen as a hospital or a jail. Then we saw what are the examples of these various restrictions and constraints which are put on us, right? Then we saw, of course, we saw more and more examples of that in terms of diseases, in terms of miseries, and everything else. And then we also discussed in the next part of last session that how we can go beyond these displeasing conditions which are imposed on our body. And for that, as a hint, we saw that how, one thing is to be noted, that God or anything to do with supreme spirit or anything to do with spirit soul for that matter is beyond conditions. Like, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says soul cannot be cut into pieces. Soul cannot be dried by air. Soul cannot be burnt by fire, right? Nenam chindanti shastrani, nenam dahati pavakaha, na chainam te deyanti apo, na shoshayati marutaha. Lord Krishna says this in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. So we see that, spirit soul actually is beyond conditions, it seems. And the supreme spirit, the Lord Shri Krishna himself, is also beyond conditions. And we saw that what to speak of God, even his pure devotees, are beyond conditions. And we saw some stories about Narad Muni and Ravan last time, right? And this gives a hint that, if we also revive our original spiritual nature, if you remember in this connection, we discussed that we have a spiritual nature. So Lord Krishna, for example, he is inside also spiritual, outside also spiritual. A robot, on the other hand, he is inside also material, outside also material. And we are inside is spiritual, the soul is spiritual, but the covering which we have right now, the home in which we are living right now is material. Our body is material, and because of this material body, so many conditions are imposed on us. But when we revive our original spiritual body, we will be able to rise above these conditions, right? And we saw that that is precisely what was the purpose of human civilization. In fact, this is the meaning of civilization. Civilization does not mean we live like cats and dogs. Civilization does not mean we we go more and more towards animal kingdom, right? Like, once there is a statistic, few years back, that 1 in every 3 marriages in US used to end in divorce. Just imagine, 1 in every 3 marriages, that means 1/3. That means what, 33.33%, no, 66.66%, right? So 1 in every 3 marriage was ending in divorce. And then now actually it has reduced, it has come down. So one may wonder what happened, have people become more civilized? Actually, no, 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 that's not the reason. What has happened is people have stopped marrying only there. Now the trend is for living and all those kind of things. So because na rahega bhains na baje, sorry, na rahega baans na bajegi basuri, so they have reduced marriages and therefore divorces have got reduced. But then please try to understand, when you have done away with the concept of marriage, then there is hardly now any difference between you and animals, right? Animals don't marry, right? They just live like this, they do whatever they want to do with whoever they want to do, right? So that's not what is civilization. So purpose of human civilization is actually these three things we saw in the last class, right? And we also saw that actually our natural state, our natural thought process, our natural condition is we want to be free, right? And that's where we saw that is one of the meanings of the word moksha, or liberation. We want to be free from these limitations or impositions or constraints or restrictions which are imposed on us, right? And we saw in the last class that how that is the very reason why we have got this human form of life. We saw by several examples in the last class how human form of life is so rare and so precious. And why human form of life is so precious? Because it is like a strong boat using which we can cross over this cycle of birth and death, right? That is why we have been given higher intelligence. We have not been given higher intelligence to figure out how we can better eat, how we can better mate, how we can better sleep, how we can better defend. That's not the main purpose of our higher intelligence. The main purpose of our higher intelligence is to inquire, right? The spiritual inquiry. Now somebody may say that, "Arey sir, kya itna ye sab kya hai, is baat ko itna seriously kyun lene ka? These conditions, they must be just because of chance. Why are you taking these conditions so seriously, and why you are making the mission of the life to rise above these conditions, right? They must be just by chance." No, we have to understand that nothing is by chance. It's all by plan. And Lord Krishna mentions this in Bhagavad Gita, that he has designed this world in such a way that we are subject to these conditions so that we can realize that something is wrong and we can revive our original spiritual nature. And of course, through various other sessions in the past, we have already discussed that how there is nothing which happens by chance. There is, everything has been designed by God in this world, right? So even these conditions have been designed, very specifically designed for us. Okay. And this was the last slide we saw in the last session, that is the very purpose of human form of life. Depending on what choices we make, if we use this human form of life to make good spiritual inquiries, we'll be promoted to higher life. And if we misuse this valuable human form of life which has been given to us by not making relevant inquiries, then we'll be demoted to the lower forms like animals, right? So this is where we had ended in the last class, and this was a quick recap for those who were present, and this was just a quick coverage for those who were not present, right? So let's now continue. So this was all about conditions. Now let us get into the second C, which was conditionings, right? Now what are conditionings? Conditionings means these three things, right? So typically what happens is, whatever inputs we receive, either through our nose or through our eyes or through our ears or through our hands, whatever inputs our system is receiving, those inputs, they form certain impressions in our mind. Those impressions is exactly what is called as samskaras. Like we have heard so many times, okay, ye ladka bade samskar wala ladka hai, ye ladki bade sanskaron wali ladki hai. What does samskar mean? Samskar actually means the impressions in mind, right? Now as we grow, now these impressions are coming from our previous lives, and at the same time they are also coming from this life, from our birth till now. Whatever we have gone through, whatever environment we have been in, whatever inputs we have received, they have created certain impressions in our mind. And those impressions, they create certain vasanas. Vasanas means the tendencies, right? The natural inclination to do something, right? And those vasanas, they create vrittis. Vrittis means the thought pattern, right? Now, so based on whatever input we are receiving, certain thoughts get created in our mind, and those thoughts, they impel us to act in this way or that way, right? So these are the conditionings which are there, which we are subject to in this world, that. And since time immemorial, since so many of our past lives, we have cultivated certain conditionings, we have gathered certain impressions, we have built certain tendencies, and we have cultivated certain thought patterns, which is what is now shaping our future. And the purpose of human form of life, just like in the last section, in the conditions section, we saw that the purpose of human form of life is to rise above the conditions by reviving our original spiritual nature so that we can rise above the conditions imposed by our body. Similarly, another purpose of human form of life is to purify our mind so that we can go from bad conditionings to good conditionings. So what are the bad conditionings? Now, I don't know if you all know that there are these 6 anarthas in our heart, right? What are the anarthas? Anarthas means something which is unwanted. Artha means something which is wanted. Anartha means something which is not wanted. So anartha, there are 6 anarthas. Shastras say there are 6 anarthas in our heart, in our mind: lust, greed, envy, anger, pride, and illusion. These are the 6 anarthas in our heart, right? And these anarthas, they are a result of bad conditionings, and they give rise to bad habits. See, ultimately, nothing remains at the level of thought. So a bad thought gives rise to a bad word. A bad word gives rise to a bad action. Bad action repeatedly done gives rise to bad habits, right? So over a period of time, we pick up certain bad habits which have taken birth due to lust, greed, envy, anger, pride, and illusion. Now, these bad habits can be of different types. Some are like simple bad habits, like biting nails, or some people have a habit of doing like this every now and then, like this, some bodily gesture they make, by habit. And these are some simple bad habits, okay, not much damage you do to yourself or to people around. There are some serious bad habits on the other hand. Serious bad habits, for example, you are smoking a cigarette, right? Smoking cigarette is a serious bad habit. Why? Because it's basically causing out a self-destruction. These are called as self-destructive habits, just like the example of camel which we gave in one of the other sessions, right? So serious bad habits like drinking, smoking, these are very serious bad habits. They do a lot of damage to an individual. And there are grave bad habits. Grave bad habits are something which not only damages an individual, but it also damages the family, it damages the society, it can also damage the entire human society. For example, illicit sex, meat eating, these all kinds of things have a large scale effect on ourselves and also on family and society and humanity at large. So these are all coming as a result of bad conditionings. So that is why our shastras say that we should actually stay away from these very, very grave. So these are, if you see, for example, all the grave bad habits can be clubbed into these 4 categories. And that's why no wonder that the shastras have called these as the 4 pillars of sin. These are called as 4 pillars of sin. The more we indulge in these things, the more we are creating a darker future for ourselves. We are only like bolte na, abel mujhe maar. Abel mujhe maar means all of us want to live a very happy life. But by indulging into these things, we are only creating a miserable life for ourselves in future. And that's why shastras say no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. And these are all result of our conditionings, the bad samskaras which we have acquired, the bad vasanas which we have cultivated, because of which the bad vrittis we have got, the thought patterns which one day or the other, they come out in form of action. So let me just dive a little bit deeper into each of these 4 things, and try to convince you all that how these 4 things are considered to be 4 pillars of sin. So just like these are 4 pillars of sin, the Shastras talk about 4 pillars of religion, 4 pillars of dharma. And you take any dharma, you take Hinduism, you take Islam, you take Christianity, you take Sikhism, you take any bona fide religion, you will see that that religion will have some concept of mercy, daya. That religion will have some concept of austerity, tapasya. That religion will have some concept of cleanliness, shaucha, cleanliness. And that religion will have some concept of truth, that we should live by truth, like that, right? So because these 4 are the 4 pillars of religion, the 4 things which we just saw, they are considered to be 4 pillars of sin, because each one of them, they break one pillar of religion. For example, meat eating. Of course, no points for guessing this, but meat eating, I'm sure you can guess that meat eating is like breaking the pillar of mercy, because we are killing innocent creatures just to satisfy our tongue, right? On the other hand, yes, killing plants is also killing, but killing plants is causing minimum damage. As human beings, we are supposed to cause minimum damage, right? Just for the sake of our taste, we cannot cause bigger damage, right? And we are going to see some more things about this as we go ahead in the next few slides. So meat eating is attacking the pillar of mercy. Illicit sex is attacking the pillar of cleanliness. Intoxication is attacking the pillar of austerity, and gambling is attacking the pillar of truth. right? So each of these four pillars of sin, they attack one pillar of religion, and that's why those four have been called as pillars of sin, and they are a result of very bad conditionings in our system, in our mind. So let me again get into each one of them one by one. No meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling, right? Very briefly. So no meat eating. So it is said that we are what we think, what we eat, right? We are what we eat. So whatever we eat affects our thought process. I hope you remember that a few slides back we saw that slide which talked about how whatever we think, the vrittis, our thought patterns ultimately lead to some bad actions, right? So therefore it is very important to make sure that our thoughts are good. And how will our thoughts be good? It depends on the inputs we give to our system. And one of the inputs we give to our system is whatever we eat. And therefore it is said we should think before we eat. And of course these days there is a lot happening about going vegetarian, and how non-veg diet is actually not a good diet. For example, here you see this American Medical Association has given these statistics, so whether it be social reasons, whether it be economic reasons, whether it be biological reasons, whether it be economic environmental reasons, now the researchers have found more and more reasons that how a non-vegetarian diet is actually not good economically, it is not good socially, it is not good environmentally, it is not good biologically, and so on. And I'll not get into these details. Maybe we can address these through question answers towards the end. I've just put more and more statistics here. Basically, you see, be it about heart diseases, diabetes, cancer, be it about the effect on the environment. You see here in the right hand side, help save our planet. Researchers have now proved that if we go vegetarian, then there will be lesser effect of global warming because of the greenhouse effect is lesser. And of course the health effects and all that. So just to summarize, as far as non-veg is concerned, as far as meat eating is concerned, which is one of the bad conditionings which we have acquired or we may have acquired over several lives, it can be remembered by this acronym called HELL, HELL, hell. It makes our life hell. How it makes our life hell? It has a bad effect on health, it has a bad effect on environment, it has a bad effect on subhuman life, and it has a bad effect on human life, right? That's how we can kind of remember this. And that's why great thinkers and scientists have said. For example, here you see Einstein has said nothing will benefit human health and increase the chances of survival of life on earth as much as the evolution to a vegetarian diet. You see, similarly Pythagoras, the very famous Pythagoras whom we all know, base square plus perpendicular square is equal to hypotenuse square. So as long as men massacre animals, they will kill each other. Indeed, he who sows the seeds of murder and pain cannot reap the joy of love. And if you see, this actually makes sense. You don't need to have big degrees to be able to understand this. I mean, if you ask your heart, I know so many people personally who eat non-veg, and they say that you know what, I mean, I can purchase it in a supermarket, I can purchase it in a mall, and I can eat, but I can't see the animal being killed in the slaughterhouse, right? Now this is cheating. Now you can't see animal being killed in the slaughterhouse, but you are purchasing it in the mall, but how it has come to the mall? Ultimately it has come through that only, right? In fact, these machines and the mechanized slaughterhouses are much more sinful. I mean, any person with conscience can't see those videos. I have certain videos with me. I'm sure if you Google, you will yourself be able to find those videos. Any person with some conscience will not be able to tolerate the kind of pain we inflict on such creatures. I have come across people who have challenged me saying that, my dear sir, ultimately when you are a vegetarian, then also you are killing and eating, and we are killing and eating animal, you are killing and eating plant. What's the difference? First of all, such people are only cheating themselves, because the difference is loud and clear. If to whoever who challenged me, I told him that, okay, I will bring in front of you a plant, and I'll bring in front of you a goat. Now kill, and you will realize whether they are same or not. So they are actually not same. These two killings are not same. And secondly, by the way, yes, killing plants also incur sin, and that is why Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Yagya Shishtasinah Santo Muchante Sarva Kil Vishay Bhunjate Te To Agham Papa Ye Pachanti Atma Karanat. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that those who eat only for their enjoyment, they eat only sin, even if they are eating only plants, right? Even if they are eating only plants, if they are eating only for their enjoyment, they are eating sin, because either in killing plants or in cooking, some sin or the other is involved. On the other hand, we are supposed to offer our food to Lord Krishna as a sacrifice. We should offer our food to Krishna, and that is called as bhoga. And then what we get in return is called prasad. If we eat prasad, then that is called as karma-free diet. That is called as a sin-free diet. It does not incur sin, because ultimately to survive, we have to eat something or the other. Is it not? So we can't go hungry. We have to eat something or the other, and eating may involve sin. And the best you can do, like it is said, make the best of the bad bargain, right? The best we can do is we can offer that to Lord Krishna for his enjoyment, so that what we get is his mercy, is his prasad, and then we honor that. That's why it is said that the goal of life is not to become vegetarian. The goal of life is to, there is nothing great in being a vegetarian, because even elephants and monkeys are vegetarian. What makes us humans really humans, is that we should become Krishnatarians. Krishnatarians means that first of all, we eat only pure vegetarian, and secondly, whatever we eat, before that we offer it to Lord Krishna as sacrifice, and then we eat, then it becomes prasad. And by the way, this is not something new in India. In each and every culture of India, in each and every home of India, this was practiced. Everybody had a culture of eating prasad, honoring prasad. Okay, so this was about no meat eating, and now this is about intoxication. Of course, there is no there can be seminars on this whole topic itself, that how this is a very, very serious disease which is attacking the entire world, and how people are succumbing to this more and more. But it just takes little common sense to understand that how these are so self-destructive, and they affect us individually and also the society collectively. Earlier they used to say smoking cigarette is injurious to health. Now they are saying smoking kills. And yet you see the nature of bad habit, the nature of addiction, that in spite of knowing that smoking kills, people are not able to refrain from that. Why? Because that is the very nature of bad habits. It is said bad habits are like soft bed. They are easy to get into but difficult to get out. Or they are like chains, too soft to be felt but too tough to be left. Please ponder over it. It is very, very thought-provoking. Bad habits are like chains which are too soft to be felt. You don't realize when you are in the grip of a chain. It's too soft to be felt, right? But when you try to break free of a bad habit, when you try to let loose of a bad habit, then you realize, oh, it's too tough, it's too strong to be left, like that, right? So, and these things have, there's a long list of what damage they do. And then coming ahead, the another grave bad habit, the grave bad conditioning of illicit sex, is also creating a havoc in the society. What starts with a handshake, ends in an abortion typically, right? So these things we have to be stay away from. What is illicit sex? Illicit sex means sex before marriage and sex outside marriage. That's what is illicit sex. And these things are creating havoc in individuals' life. They are creating havocs in families. They are breaking families. They are destroying families. Of course, at the level of body and biology, they are creating, STDs, the sexually transmitting diseases and whatnot. And this is actually, in fact, to see other females as mother is one of the pillars of moral character. So Chanakya Pandit says, Matravat Pardareshu. So what is a test? I think we discussed this in one of the previous classes, either in Rekindling Wisdom, or I think in Rekindling Wisdom we discussed this, right? That Chanakya Pandit says one of the three tests of somebody's character, or whether one is learned or not, is Matravat Pardareshu. Matravat Pardareshu means you see every other female other than your wife, you see every other female as mother. That is the level of education, level of character which we all are supposed to exhibit and we are supposed to have. And that creates a very, very peaceful situation, both individually as well as collectively. And just to kind of put more technical facts here from Shastras, that when we indulge in illicit sex, it actually has a very, very bad effect on our body and mind. Remember that flowchart of, samskaras and then vasanas and vrittis. Indulging into these grave bad habits, they create very, very bad samskaras. Because of very bad samskaras, they create very bad vasanas. And because of very bad vasanas, they create very, very bad vrittis. And because of those bad vrittis, we again are forced to indulge into again some bad activities, and the whole thing perpetuates. And we are dragged to lower and lower levels of consciousness. We are dragged to animalistic life. But human form of life, we are supposed to break free from this conditioning. Are you able to appreciate the importance of this topic in the light of the importance of this section in the light of topic which we are discussing, right? In human form of life, we are supposed to take charge. We are supposed to be careful about what inputs we are giving to our system. We are supposed to be careful about what we are feeding. we all of us have a good dog inside us and we have a bad dog inside us, right? Now the bad dog is basically from inside provoking us to do bad things, and the good dog inside us is provoking us to do good things, right? Just like if you remember in the Rekindling Wisdom session, we were talking about education is coming from a word called educare, and educare basically means to bring out the best from within, right? And on the other hand, people in today's world are saying bring out the beast from within you, let the animal inside you go wild. I mean, that is crazy. We are not the purpose of human form of life is not to let the animal inside us loose, and it's not to cultivate and nourish the animal inside us. It is to cultivate the saint inside us, right? The bad dog and a good dog, right? So now, depending on what inputs we are giving to our body and mind, right, we are either feeding the bad dog or we are feeding the good dog. The more you feed the bad dog, the more you are making it difficult for yourself to make the right choices in future. The more you are feeding the good dog, the more you are making it easier for yourself to make the right choices in future, right? So therefore, understanding this science is very, very important. Earlier this was taught right from the age of 5. Now you all are maybe 18, 19, 20. It's too late, but it is said better late than never. And in human form of life, Lord Krishna has given us the power to be able to change our life right from now. It's that power is within us. The determination, the willpower is within us to change. But the willingness to change is very, very important. So anyway, so just to list down some more things about what damage illicit sex causes on our body and mind, it kind of completely takes away shaucham or cleanliness. It takes away our ability to dhyan or concentrate on something. It takes away our ability called dhriti, which means determination. And that's why if you see earlier, in fact, I think we discussed this earlier, that the degree which you will be getting is called as Bachelor of Technology or Bachelor of Engineering, is it not? Why it is called bachelor? All undergraduate degrees are typically called bachelor. Why? Because we are supposed to be celibate, we are supposed to be bachelor, and that is the prerequisite to gain knowledge, to gain education. Otherwise, when we indulge into these kind of things, then we are not able to cultivate knowledge, we are not able to get trained, we become very loose, we lose our concentration, we lose our determination, we lose everlasting peace, naishtiki shanti, we lose vichar shakti, the power of inquiry, we lose dharana shakti, the power to grasp, we lose vivek shakti, the power to discriminate. So these things are to be very, very seriously understood. Otherwise, many a times, the more some things become common in society, we start thinking that, oh, it's fine, everybody does it, so I can also do it. That's the problem of today's society. See, please note one very, very important point. There is the Satyuga, there is Treta Yuga, there is Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga, correct? It's not that bad things were not there in previous ages. Bad things were there in previous ages also. However, at least in the previous 3 ages, people knew this is good, this is bad. I should stay away from bad and I should do good, right? But in Kali Yuga, unfortunately, why it is even more dangerous now, especially with the current civilization around, is because what is sin is being made to look fashionable. An innocent person who goes into a college, he was a nice boy, he used to drink milk, and he was a very nice, happy, healthy boy, following all nice principles, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise, and once he enters an engineering college hostel, he thinks, "Arey baapre, if daru nahi piyunga to people will not accept me, and it seems it is cool, it's cool to smoke a cigarette, it's cool to drink, and he starts breaking all the principles one after the other, and little does he understand that how can fire be cool, you fool, so but that is because he comes under so much peer pressure. He thinks that sin, it is fashionable to commit sin. That's the special danger of today's civilization, and that's why we should always keep good company. If we are in bad company, if we are having such friends around us who are making bad things appear good, that means there is a big danger. So we have to stay away from that, so that we can focus on the goals of life. Whatever we want to do, we want to do our family proud, we want to do our country proud, we want to do humanity proud, right? History is full of so many cases wherein people have got involved into all these nonsense things and they have ruined their lives. I can tell my own story, not in the sense that I was into all these things, but in the sense that I had a friend, he was my junior, his name was Nishit Karwa. He was in in IIT Kharagpur. He was my neighbor. He was in one of the neighboring rooms and he committed suicide, right? And these things are increasing more and more. Love triangle, and earlier there used to be love triangle, now there is love quadrilateral, and hexagon, and these days there are love dodecagon, and I don't know what, 10 sides, 11 sides, polygon. So one has to be very, very careful about all these things, and one has to be focused on what is the purpose of human life, you know. And especially if you know, if these days news is all full of this suicide, that suicide, you know, inability to deal with certain challenges, you know, and what not. Human life is very, very rare and very, very precious. We have to empower ourselves, you know, by practicing spirituality. It is like insurance, you know. I'm sure you know that how everybody takes insurance, right? Why people take insurance? People take insurance for a better future. In case something bad happens, God forbid, if something wrong happens, you know, then we have something as security. We have something to protect us. Similarly, spirituality is like the ultimate insurance which we can take against all the things which can be bad in our life, against all self-destructive habits and bad habits. The fourth thing is gambling. Now gambling, you know, we may think that अरे इंडिया में कौन gamble करता है, पर ऐसा नहीं है. Now these days this is becoming a more and more social evil, you know, and gambling is again addictive, you know, losing all their money, losing all they can. So basically it is a chain, you know. First you lose all your money, then you lose all you can get from your family, then you lose all that you can get from your friends, and then you start stealing, you know. And that's why gambling has been seen as the mother of all crimes. In fact, some people have come up with these statistics. If you see here, a 2008 survey long back found that gambling was the most common motivation for fraud, and that the average loss was $1.1 million per incident. Can you imagine? Violent crimes are 10% higher in casino countries, because the nature of these things are, and it is very obvious. You see casinos may, you know, you will always be served alcohol and these kind of things. I mean, these all things go together. They are like a package, you know. And good people, swan like people, they stay away from all these things. It's like one package, you know, wherein all these things come together. Okay. So swan like people, good people, you know, who want to lead pure life, who want to live life of character, who want to rise in life. Those who don't want to go down in life, they stay away from these kind of things. And again, I have put together here a lot of statistics about gambling, just in case we are thinking that, oh, what is so serious about gambling? You know, gambling is now known to destroy individuals. Gambling is known to destroy families. Gambling is known to destroy societies, and governments all over the world are spending a lot of money in curing people of this disease of gambling. And this is called as like problem gambling or problem gambler. Be it US, be it UK, be it Australia. And one may think that in India, you know, we are not yet, you know, troubled with all these things. But please note, now there is hardly any difference between India and America. You see, Corona was there in China, Corona came in India. You know, something is there in China or US or Australia or UK, it will be the next day, it will be in India, because now our is a global village. You know, this world is a global village. So you see, here is a case of a casino manager in Goa, one of the few states where gambling is legal. Says 70% of his regular clients are clearly addicts. They lose 2 lakhs to a crore over a weekend. Now, इतना तो किसी का annual salary नहीं होता है. बहुत सारे लोगों का annual salary इससे बहुत कम होगा. And there are people who lose this over a weekend, and yet they double their bets. You see how addictive gambling is, right? And then of course sports betting and all that, right? So all this is a result of these bad conditionings which are there, which actually bind us, you know, more in this world. And the purpose of human life is to actually break free of these conditionings. So how to give up bad conditionings? To some extent we have already discussed. If we can understand the science behind it, right? What was the science behind it? The inputs we take, the inputs we give to our mind and body create samskaras, the impressions, and those samskaras or impressions, they create vasanas or tendencies, and those tendencies, they create vrittis or thought patterns, and thoughts give rise to words, words give rise to action, action give rise to habit, and habits becomes our future, right? So if you have to nip something at the bud, right? जैसे बोलते हैं कि कुछ चीजें होती है जो जब छोटे होते हैं उसी समय उसको खत्म कर देना चाहिए ना. Some things should be tackled with when they are small. For example, fire. अगर कहीं आग लग जाए तो आग को बड़ा होने का आप इंतजार मत करिए, क्योंकि जब बड़ी हो जाएगी तो इट कैन गो बियॉन्ड कंट्रोल. आग जब छोटी हो तभी बुझा देनी चाहिए. सिमिलरली बीमारी, डिजीज जब छोटा हो तभी उसको हैंडल कर लेना चाहिए. अगर डिजीज बड़ा हो जाएगा, you know, then it will be difficult to control that disease. And one more example is given of loan या debt. जब छोटा होता है तभी उसको चुका देना चाहिए, नहीं तो वो पाइल अप होता चला जाएगा, बड़ा होता चला जाएगा और उसको हम चुका नहीं पाएंगे, right? ठीक उसी प्रकार you know, when these vrittis or vasanas and such things are there, you know, or our bad tendencies or bad habits or bad conditionings are there, we should nip it at the bud. जहां पे शुरू होता है, कहाँ शुरू होता है? थॉट्स के लेवल पर, और थॉट्स किससे फॉर्म होता है? इनपुट से. इसका मतलब if we can make sure that instead of bad inputs we give inputs to ourselves, if we give good inputs to ourselves, then we can solve the problem, is it not? And that is why in computer science, if you know, there is this GIGO principle, is it not? Garbage in, garbage out. आप गंदा दोगे तो गंदा ही निकलेगा, अच्छा दोगे तो अच्छा निकलेगा. So we have to give inputs to ourselves, right? For example, see, imagine if we have got a car, right? Car is a vehicle by which we can go to some place, right? Similarly, this body and mind is like a vehicle which has been given to us, right? To be able to carry out the duties of our life, to be able to execute the purpose of human form of life. Then just like we will keep the car in very good condition, right, by taking care of it very nicely, by, you know, giving good inputs to it, by giving petrol to it, and by taking care of it nicely. Similarly, we have to take care of our body mind vehicle properly, so that we can actually carry out the purpose of human form of life. Just like a gardener will be very, very careful to, you know, nicely cultivate these flowers and vegetables and everything. Similarly, we have to be very, very careful in giving what inputs we are giving to our system. And this is exactly what I was talking about. You know, thoughts lead to words, words lead to action, action leads to habit, habit leads to character, and character is what becomes our destiny. Many times people say, sir, can we change our destiny? Is everything fixed? Oh yes, we can change. Destiny decides what happens to us, right? But how we react to it creates our future destiny. And therefore we have to be very, very careful about how we are reacting to it. And how we are reacting to it depends on what thoughts we are cultivating, and what thoughts we are cultivating depends on what inputs we are giving to ourselves. And therefore it is very, very important to live such a clean life. We see only those things which are worthy of seeing. We hear only those things which are worthy of hearing. We have only those friends which are worthy of keeping. A man is known by the company he keeps, right? These are what form our inputs. So how to say no to bad habits? By staying away from tempting environment and association, and substituting bad habits by good habits, right? So that's a very, very simple formula. Because, you know, it's very difficult to just take out a habit. No, we have to replace a bad habit by a good habit. You know, then it becomes easy. And to make sure that there are no further bad inputs, we have to stay away from such tempting environment and tempting people, right? And by doing this, you know, we will be able to rise above bhaya, moha, and shoka. This is another very, very important aspect of our conditionings, right? So one form of bad conditionings comes out in form of these bad habits, and the other form of bad conditioning comes out in form of bhaya, moha, and shoka. You have seen some people who are always in fear. अरे यार टेंशन हो रहा है यार, क्या होगा कल एग्जाम में यार, टेंशन क्या. You know, some people are always bhay, some people are always in moh. What is bhay? Bhay means worry. Worry makes us look back at our past misfortunes, you know. And what is illusion? Moh makes us look around for some immediate gratification to forget those worries. Because of bhay, you know, we try to reduce that bhay maybe by watching a movie. But when we are watching a movie, actually our bhay is not going. We are forgetting our present. Yeah? Many times people think, अरे मूवी देख के बड़ा मजा आया. मजा इसलिए आया क्योंकि कल जो एग्जाम है उसके बारे में हम भूल गए. तो 3 घंटा के लिए हम कल का एग्जाम भूल गए, इसके लिए अभी मेरे को लग रहा है मजा आया, पर एक्चुअली मजा नहीं आया. आई वॉज इन इल्यूजन, आई वॉज अंडर एन इल्यूजन, आई फॉरगॉट माई प्रेजेंट, एंड सिंस आई फॉरगॉट माई मिजरेबल प्रेजेंट, since I forgot my struggle for some time, therefore I got a feeling of happiness. But that is actually moha, that is not real happiness, that is illusion. And then shoka means, you know, shoka is worry makes us look back at our past misfortunes, and bhay is fear is always about future. आगे क्या होने वाला है, क्या होगा, you know. So worry is about future, fear is about future, worry is about past, and illusion is about, you know, what we have a wrong understanding of the present. We are trying to forget our worry and forget our fear. On the other hand, if we are having faith in God, if we are living a Krishna conscious life, if we are giving a Krishna centric life, a God centric life, then that makes us look up. It takes away our focus from past, it takes away our focus from future, it takes away the illusion in the present, and it basically makes us look up, by which we can actually do whatever really we want to do. So it is said history is mystery. What is that? Past is history, future is mystery, present is the only present we have, right? So it is because of conditionings that either we lament about the past or we hanker about the future. But what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to have faith in the empowerment of God. We are supposed to have faith in our connection with God, and based on that we should live life in present, live life of reality in present, not live life of illusion in present. And just to summarize those things again here, so what is the problem? Lack of belief that I can change, because ultimately it begins from here, right? If I have to, now we are just summarizing this conditioning wala section, right? That how do we break free of bad conditionings? How do we develop good conditioning, right? So the first problem is that we think that we can't change, right? That's the beginning of all problems, right? Lack of belief that I can change. How do we solve that problem? By seeing examples of those who have undergone radical change and giving up similar bad habits, right? When I see, oh, इसने अपने आप को चेंज कर लिया, इसने अपने आप को चेंज कर लिया, तो मैं भी चेंज कर सकता हूँ. It is just a matter of determination, right? And of course, when you have encouragement and motivation by others, that also helps. Then okay, I have believed that I can change, but I don't have desire to change. ठीक है, मैं change कर सकता हूँ, पर करना किसको है? मेरे को change नहीं करना है. You see, most people who smoke and drink, they want to stay away from, these what are they, de-addiction clubs, right? Why? Because they are afraid उधर जाऊंगा तो इसकी आदत छूट जाएगी, and they don't want to change, right? So therefore they stay away from it. So lack of desire to change. Now how can we solve that? We can solve that by keeping such a company of people, such a company of those devotee friends, who are God centric, who are Krishna centric, who can actually inspire us and motivate us to have this desire to change. And what is the third problem? Okay, I have belief also, I have desire also, but I am not able to discriminate between what is good, what is bad. So when we sharpen our intelligence, when we study the Shastras like Bhagavad Gita, it becomes very, very clear what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, and we will know what are the right choices in life. And then, even though we may know what are the right choices in life, we may not have the determination or the discipline to stick to the good thing, right? Many times people know this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, but because of peer pressure or because of something or the other, because of some weakness, they are not strong enough to do the right thing. They are not determined enough, or they're not disciplined enough to do the right thing, right? But when we chant Hare Krishna, when we access the grace of God, we will get the power by offering prayers, and by chanting. The most important prayer is actually the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we offer prayers like this, we access the grace of God. And by that grace of God, we get that power. We are empowered to be able to stick to our choices, to stick to the right choices. It is said prayers go up and blessings come down. Otherwise, if we don't pay attention to these things, then we have to better understand that our mind and senses are only meant to cheat us. Our mind and senses are only dragging us down. Just like you see in this picture, this man is being dragged through greed, lust, envy, anger. He's being dragged down and down, to subhuman consciousness. On the other hand, we are supposed to rise, to higher and higher consciousness, God consciousness. And here is a very, very graphic example which this world teaches us, by the way. If you see, we have put 5 examples here corresponding to the 5 senses, how our senses cheat us. This is very, very important point to understand. See, nature many times has many lessons, which we can draw from, right? For example, look at fish. If you know how a fish is caught, right? In the fishing rod, they put some bait, they put a worm or something, right? That's how a fish is caught. अभी fish क्या सोचती है? Fish सोचती है, अरे वाह, कितना अच्छा खाना मिला. बाकी सारा जगह उसको खाना मिल रहा है, हाँ, लेकिन उसको लगता है अरे वाह कितना अच्छा खाना मिला है, चलो खाते हैं, तो fish gets, तो वो जाती है और वो हुक में अटक जाती है fish, so fish gets cheated by its tongue, by the sense of taste. Sense of taste जो है fish control नहीं कर पाती है, कि अरे छोड़ यार वहां डेंजर है, वो वहां नहीं खाता हूं, मैं बाकी खा लेता हूँ, आराम से रहूंगा, और वो खाने के चक्कर में फिश फंस जाती है. सो बिकॉज ऑफ द टेस्ट फिश गेट्स कॉट. सिमिलरली एलिफेंट, इफ यू नो हाउ एलिफेंट्स आर कॉट, एक बड़ा गड्ढा खोदते हैं, उसको घास से ढक देते हैं और सामने एक फीमेल एलिफेंट को खड़ा कर देते हैं. अभी एलिफेंट जो है कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाता फीमेल एलिफेंट को देख के, उसका जो सेंस ऑफ टच है ना, ही वांट्स टू टच दैट फीमेल एलिफेंट, उसका सेंस ऑफ टच उसको पागल कर देता है. तो वो एलिफेंट अपना दिमाग खो के वो जाता है फीमेल एलिफेंट की तरफ, और जब फीमेल एलिफेंट की तरफ जाता है गड्ढा में बेचारा गिर जाता है. So the sense of touch, which the elephant is not able to control, because of that the elephant is caught. सिमिलरली एक बम्बल बी जो है वो फ्लावर में जाती है नेक्टर लेने के लिए, और जब नेक्टर लेती है तो इतना इंटॉक्सिकेटेड हो जाता है वो नेक्टर से, वो स्मेल से इतना इंटॉक्सिकेटेड हो जाता है उस स्मेल से, फ्लावर के स्मेल से, कि वो उसके अंदर बेहोश जैसा हो जाता है, और वो फ्लावर बंद हो जाता है और वो मर जाता है. वो भंवरा उसके अंदर फंस के मर जाता है. स्मेल से इतना इंटॉक्सिकेटेड हो जाता है, वो कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाता अपने आप को. सिमिलरली इफ यू नो, दिवाली का जो सीजन आता है उसके आसपास आप देखो मोमबत्ती या कोई लैंप हो, उसके चारों ओर कितने कीड़े आते हैं, So if you ignite a candle, if you burn a candle, you know, these moths will come running, you know, उनको आंख से दिखता है, अरे वाह कितना चमकदार मजेदार मजेदार येलो येलो चमकता हुआ चीज है, चलो चलो चलते हैं, you know, and when they go they get burnt, finished, you know. So their eyes, they cheat them, you know, they see something attractive. Please note, in life all that glitters is not gold. All that glitters is not gold. We are supposed to control our senses. We are not supposed to let our senses loose. We are not supposed to let our mind loose. Now mind kya hai? Mind is like a taskmaster of the five senses. It is, mind is compared to the palm, and these five fingers are like five senses, you know. So my mind is like a palm. Mind is a taskmaster of these five senses. So we are not supposed to let our senses loose. We are not supposed to, you know, just do whatever comes in our mind, you know, just go wherever our senses are dragging. That is animalistic life. Human life is not supposed to be like that. And another example you see here is of the ears, you know. It is known that in the jungle, when this you know, these deer hunters, they go, they play some kind of a flute or some kind of a music, and that music enchants the deer, and in search of that music the deer comes out, you know, and then the hunter is able to kill that deer. So the ears, the music, it cheats the deer. They are not able to control their temptation to follow from where this sound is coming. And therefore it is said that these five senses are like the five horses. And the rope, if you see this diagram towards the end, you know, the bottom right diagram, bottom right picture, if you see in bottom right picture, the five senses have been compared to the five horses, right? And those are tied by rope. That rope is like mind, and the driver is the intelligence, and the passenger is us, the soul, and the whole chariot is like the body. ये जो पूरा रथ है वो body है, right? तो imagine करो, अगर आप 5 घोड़ा 5 डायरेक्शन में जाएगा तो क्या होगा? हम तो अपने जीवन का लक्ष्य पूरा नहीं कर पाएंगे. We will not be able to go anywhere. Our whole chariot will break. हम वहीं रोड पे गिर जाएंगे, रोते रहेंगे, हाय 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 हाय, या तो सुसाइड कर लेंगे या टेररिस्ट बन जाएंगे, राइट? अगर 5 सेंसेस 5 डायरेक्शंस में जाएगा. और अगर माइंड, अगर रोप से कंट्रोल नहीं होगा, और अगर रोप एक ड्राइवर के हाथ में नहीं होगा, और अगर ड्राइवर स्ट्रांग नहीं होगा, तो भी पूरा सब इधर उधर भाग जाएगा. एंड स्ट्रांग ड्राइवर मींस फॉर स्ट्रांग इंटेलिजेंस. सो देयरफॉर वी शुड रीड शास्त्रास टू कल्टिवेट एंड शार्पन आवर इंटेलिजेंस, so that we can control our mind, so that mind we can control our senses, so that we can actually do whatever we want to do in life. It is very very important both for material success as well as spiritual success. Now after all this, one may say that अरे बाप रे, आप जो ये सब बोल रहे हैं कि ये मत करो वो मत करो, नो मीट ईटिंग, नो इलिसिट सेक्स, नो इंटॉक्सिकेशन, नो गैम्बलिंग, यू नो, अपने सेंसेस को लूज मत छोड़ो, अपने माइंड को नो बोलो, जो भी सेंसेस करने को बोले, जो भी माइंड करने को बोले, डोंट गेट कैरिड अवे बाय दैट, यू शुड से नो टू योरसेल्फ. देन इज दिस ऑल नॉट, यू नो, वी आर imposing some conditions? Now on one hand we wanted to become free, right? On one hand we want to become free, on the other hand we are imposing so many conditions on ourselves. तो ये तो contradiction हो गया, right? Contradiction नहीं हो गया. Let me just try to, you know, elaborate a little bit on this topic. So practice of Krishna consciousness is characterized by discipline, obedience and self-control. Very true. It is indeed characterized by discipline, obedience and self-control. However, our natural thought process, and of course certain do's and don'ts, right, as we all discussed. But what is our thought process? Our thought process is we want to be free. Correct? That's the whole point of discussing this topic. Correct? We want to be free. We want to be liberated, right? We don't want any restrictions. We don't want any limits. And now you are telling us that, array, if you really want to be free from conditions, if you really want to be free from conditioning, then you should practice these rules and regulations. You should, you know, say no to your mind. You should say no to your senses, right? And you should not do this. You should do this, like that. What is this? Is this not a contradiction? Let us in the next 5 minutes try to address this point. First of all, this so-called freedom which comes, you know, as a result of not following any rules and regulations. अरे भैया देखो, मैंने अपने बाप का नहीं सुना, तुम्हारा क्या सुनूंगा? You know, ये वाला जो so-called freedom है ना, पहली बात तो ये illusory freedom. This is not a real freedom. This is illusory freedom. Here is an example. This freedom is like a freedom of a football. Now football may think I'm free. जहां मन वहां जा सकती हूँ, लेकिन वो क्या, is it really free? Is football really free? A football is free only to be kicked from one foot to another foot. That is the destiny of a football. इधर से मार खाने का, उधर से मार खाने का, फ्री है, कोई बांध के नहीं रखा है उसको, फ्री है, लेकिन इधर से मार खाने का, इधर से लात खाने का, इधर से लात खाने का. That is the nature of that freedom, right? So that's number one to be understood. First point to be understood. Second point, कि ठीक है भैया, जो आपको गुड एडवाइस दिया जाता है, या जो हेल्दी रेस्ट्रिक्शंस बोलते हैं, आपके पेरेंट्स बोलते हैं, या गुरु साधु शास्त्र बोलते हैं, भैया ये करो ये ना करो, दे आर नॉट अगेंस्ट अवर फ्रीडम. but they are prerequisite to our freedom. This is another very, very important point to understand. We all should drive this message home. We should take this in our heart so that we know how to live life, right? So let me give an example that how whenever some restrictions are put on us, healthy restrictions, good advice by Guru Sadhu Shastra, we should do this, we should not do this, right? Such restrictions are not against our freedom, but they are prerequisite to our freedom. Example number 1, एक बच्चा पतंग उड़ा रहा है, हाँ, और पतंग उड़ा रहा है वो एक थर्ड फ्लोर बिल्डिंग के रूफ पे है और वहां रूफ में बाउंड्री नहीं है, राइट? और उड़ाते उड़ाते ऊपर देखते देखते ही इज जस्ट गोइंग एंड ही इज अबाउट टू स्टेप ओवरबोर्ड, ही इज अबाउट टू टेक वन मोर स्टेप एंड ही विल फॉल. 3 मंजिला 4 फ्लोर बिल्डिंग से नीचे गिरेगा वो, एंड देन पीछे से उसका दोस्त बोलता है स्टॉप. अभी बोलता है अरे तेरा, मैं अपने बाप का कभी स्टॉप नहीं सुना, तेरा क्या स्टॉप सुनूंगा, और ऐसे उड़ाते उड़ाते वो गिर जाएगा. So if he falls like this, if he is lucky, he will lose his freedom to walk, and if he is unlucky, he will lose his freedom to live. Correct? In the name of freedom, actually he will lose his freedom because he did not follow the instruction stop. अरे भैया, अगर आप कुछ गलत करने जा रहे हो, अगर आप कुछ बुरा काम करने जा रहे हो जिससे आपका नुकसान होगा, उसके लिए अगर आपको कोई रोकता है, तो is it against your freedom or is it for your freedom? Here by this kite example we can see this very, very graphically. I hope you have understood. Another example, एक आदमी बेचारा बहुत बीमार था, डॉक्टर के पास गया, डॉक्टर ने बोला देखो भैया, तुमको अभी ज्यादा तेल फ्राई नहीं खाने का, ज्यादा हेवी फूड नहीं खाने का, और ये गोली है दिन में सुबह एक बार खाने का, दोपहर में खाने का, और रात को खाना खाने से पहले खाने का. अब सामने वाला बोलता है कि अरे तुम कौन होता है मेरे को बोलने वाला, हु आर यू, आई विल फॉलो, आई विल ईट, मैं खाऊंगा नहीं, या जो मन वो खाऊंगा, जब मन वो खाऊंगा, ये वाला मैं दोपहर को खाऊंगा, बोलो क्या करोगे? अभी if he does like that, he will not get cured. That is foolishness. If a doctor is saying, bhai, do this, don't do this, don't do this, it is for your, it is not against freedom. It is to further your freedom. Correct? It is a prerequisite to freedom. So this is another very nice example by which we can learn this, right? And then what happens is, when we follow such instructions, now this is another very, very important point. So what was the first point we saw? That so-called freedom is illusory. What is the second point we saw? That by the way, whatever good instructions we are getting, whatever good advice we are getting, it is not against our freedom, it is prerequisite to our freedom. And what is the third point we are seeing now? That by following that good advice, by following those good healthy restrictions, our freedom actually increases more and more. उसका example मैं दिखा रहा हूँ आपको इधर कि you see when there is a cow, if the cow is not an obedient cow, उसको खुला छोड़ देंगे तो भाग जाएगी, वापस ही नहीं आएगी, तो क्या करेगा वो उसका मालिक he will tie the cow with a very short rope, without giving much freedom. लेकिन gradually the more the cow becomes submissive, the more the cow becomes obedient to follow the instructions of the master, the more the master will increase the size of the rope. उसको ज्यादा एरिया मिलेगा चरने के लिए, घास खाने के लिए. और अगर वो cow completely obedient हो जाएगी, completely servant हो जाएगी उस master के, तो वो उसको बांधेगा भी नहीं, उसको खुला छोड़ देगा. उसको मालूम है, master is sure that after eating the grass whole day, after grazing the grass whole day, the cow will come back to me. Master is sure. So you see what is happening. By becoming obedient to the master, the cow is becoming more and more free. Are you getting this? By becoming obedient to the master, the cow is becoming more and more free. Another example, by becoming obedient to the father, the son is getting more and more pocket money. You see, पहले फादर ने 10 रुपया दिया पॉकेट मनी बच्चा को, अभी बच्चा जो है वो 10 रुपया उड़ा दिया इधर उधर. 10 रुपया अगर उड़ा देगा उधर उधर, तो फादर उसको अब बोलेगा बांध, खत्म तेरा काम, nothing, no more pocket money, you are an irresponsible child, you cannot handle money properly. But if the child is very obedient, if the child is following things properly, if the child is making good use of money, then the father will get more and more trust in the child, and father will increase the pocket money from 10 rupees to 50 rupees. Is it not? Right? So by becoming subservient to our authority, by becoming subservient to our master, our freedom is actually increasing. Another example, अगर आप बोलोगे भैया मैं लेफ्ट साइड में गाड़ी नहीं चलाऊंगा, मैं राइट साइड में चलाऊंगा, बोलो क्या करोगे? मैं रेड सिग्नल पे रुकूंगा नहीं, मैं रेड सिग्नल पे आगे चलूंगा. अरे मेरे बाप का नहीं सुना मैंने, तेरा क्या सुनूंगा मैं रेड सिग्नल पे नहीं रुकूंगा. करो ऐसा, आप कहाँ जाओगे? जेल में जाओगे. आपका इन द नेम ऑफ फ्रीडम, योर फ्रीडम विल गो अवे. इज इट नॉट? इन द नेम ऑफ वांटिंग टू बी फ्री, यू विल बी कॉट, योर फ्रीडम विल बी टेकन अवे फ्रॉम यू. Right? Please note, we are not God. We are tiny, small, creatures, right? So if we do not obey the laws of God, if we do not obey the laws of nature, our freedom will be taken away from us. In the name of becoming free, if we disobey God, if we disobey God's laws of nature, then our freedom will only be taken away more and more and more. We will only be suffering more and more and more. We will only make our lives more and more miserable. On the other hand, if we become nice, obedient citizens, if we obey the laws of God, dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat parinitam. What is religion? What is dharma? To obey the laws of God. That is dharma. If we obey the laws of God, if we follow the principles of religion properly, then we'll be free. We can live a very, very happy and satisfying life. So these principles are very important to understand. I'll take another 10 minutes. So so it is 4:27 right now. Normally we want to end at 4:30, but I will take another 10 minutes so that I can finish this third C of competition as well. It will just be finished in 10 minutes. It's a small topic, and so that the whole session, the whole topic will get finished. Otherwise we'll have to honestly extend it to the next week, right? So I'll go for another 10 more minutes, right? So this was conditionings. What were conditionings? Conditionings were certain constraints which our mind imposes on us, because of which we act in particular way, and we become miserable in our life. It comes as an obstacle in our enjoyment, right? And as we saw, another purpose of human form of life is to break free from those conditionings, to go from bad conditionings to good conditionings. And we saw how we can do that by changing our inputs, by giving good inputs. We can do that. And then in the last part of the conditionings wala section, we also saw that, array, you are saying say no to your mind, say no to your senses, do not just get carried away by your mind and senses. You should apply some self-control, you should apply some discipline. Then is it not against our freedom? No, we saw in the last few slides that how it is not against our freedom, it is prerequisite to our freedom. I hope this concept is crystal clear to all those who are attending right now. These things are very important to understand. Otherwise, when I was new to spirituality, I always thought, you are telling us we will become free and you are putting so many conditions on us, so many restrictions on us. It is not like that. And by the way, nobody forces us to do anything, right? It is all out of our own inspiration. Nobody will tie our hands and legs and say that no, you can't smoke cigarette. Are tumko pina piyo na, apna life barbaad karo, maro jaake kaun roka hai? But if you want to live a very happy life, you want to live a good quality life, you want to really fulfill the purpose of human form of life, you want to live better than animals, then don't smoke cigarette. It's like that. Choice is yours. In Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, after telling entire Bhagavad Gita, you know what Krishna is telling Arjun? Krishna is not telling, chal, ज़्यादा बहुत तेरा दिमाग खराब हो गया, चल अब उठ के लड़. No, Krishna is not telling that. Krishna is telling, भैया देखो, मैंने जो बताना था तुमको बता दिया. ये करोगे तो ये होगा, ये करोगे तो ये होगा. Now यत इच्छसि तथा कुरु. अब जैसा तुमको लगे वैसा करो. Lord never interferes in our free will. Lord only tries to inspire us, motivate us, guide us from within and from without. Lord never forces us, right? So yat ichchasi tatha kuru. Now do whatever you want to do. Please note, Sanatan Dharma, real spiritual life is always inspirational. Real spiritual life is always voluntary. It is never an imposition. It is never an imposition. Okay, so that was the second section. Now let's come to in the last 10 minutes, let's come to the third section, which is of cutthroat competition. What are we discussing? That bhaiya, we want to enjoy nicely, we want to be happy in this world, but we see that our body imposes so many conditions, our mind imposes so many conditionings, and this world, this environment, these surroundings, they impose a lot of competition, because of which our life is not a very merry-go-round. It's not a piece of cake. It's actually very, very big struggle. Now so this cutthroat competition is seen everywhere in this world. For example, you see Reliance Jio. उसके पहले एयरटेल, आइडिया सब एकदम राजा के जैसा मौज कर रहे थे. रिलायंस जियो आके सबको हटा दिया. सब अपना घुटने पे आ गए. Everybody was forced to rethink their strategy, right? So when a big player comes in the market, all small players, उनका पत्ता कट जाता है. Similarly, when a big mall comes in a neighborhood, जो छोटे मोटे दुकानदार होते हैं बेचारा, उनका धंधा खत्म हो जाता है. महाराष्ट्र में डीमार्ट इज वेरी पॉपुलर. If DMart comes in some place और इतना डिस्काउंट देता है डीमार्ट वाला, इतना सारा उसका होलसेल, इतना स्टॉक है, इतना डिस्काउंट देता है, बेचारा छोटा मोटा व्यापारी, उसका बैंड बच जाता है. Similarly, when in an interview a company has come to select one person, and 10 are applying, उसमें से एक जो है बड़ा स्मार्ट है, and he basically उसके वजह से बाकी 9 का पत्ता कट जाता है. You see, so it is like, because in this world we have limited resources. Because in this world we have limited resources, therefore there is competition. Is it not? मान लो अगर unlimited resources होता, मान लो एक कंपनी उसमें unlimited vacancy है, तो क्या competition? जो अप्लाई कर रहा है उसका हो जा रहा है. What competition, right? That is like spiritual world. Spiritual world, and that is why, please appreciate my dear friends, that is why spiritual world is called Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha ऐसा कोई धार्मिक शब्द नहीं है. अरे वैकुंठा वैकुंठा वैकुंठा, ये कोई धार्मिक शब्द नहीं है. वैकुंठा एक संस्कृत वर्ड है जिसका एक टेक्निकल मीनिंग है. वैकुंठा, कुंठा means anxiety, वै means without, वैकुंठा means without anxiety. Spiritual world is a place where there is no anxiety, no tension, no frustration, no dissatisfaction. Why? Because there is no unhealthy cutthroat competition there. जब आप रेस लड़ते हो, उधर रेस में दौड़ते हो, तो सबको ही फर्स्ट आता है और सबको ही भगवान को प्रसन्न करना चाहता है, सबको ही भगवान की सेवा करना चाहता है, और उसमें जो पीछे होता है उसको भी आगे कर देते हैं, right? Imagine that world will be so wonderful, so nice, right? But unfortunately it is not possible. हम चाहे कितनी भी बातें करें, हम उसकी कितनी भी बातें करें, कहीं ना कहीं ले देकर वो पॉसिबल नहीं है इस वर्ल्ड में, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली इस वर्ल्ड में देर आर मोर पीपल एंड लेस अपॉर्चुनिटीज, देर आर मोर पीपल एंड लेस रिसोर्सेज, करेक्ट? सो कहीं ना कहीं किसी ना किसी रूप में we have to face cutthroat competition in this world. The bigger fish will swallow a smaller fish will swallow even smaller fish, and so on and so forth. And that creates an unhappy struggle for material existence. Everybody has to be always on their toes. अगर आप टोज पे नहीं हो अपने और आराम से रिलैक्स करो, भैया लॉकडाउन है चलो मजा आ गया 3 महीना छुट्टी, तो आप कहीं के नहीं रहोगे। आपको नया स्किल्स पिकअप करना है, मशीन लर्निंग, डेटा साइंस, प्रोग्रामिंग, पाइथन, कुछ तो सीखिए, आप अपना रिज्यूमे में डालिए, नहीं तो आप पीछे रह जाएंगे, बाकी लोग आगे निकल जाएंगे। यू सी देयर इज ऑलवेज अ कांस्टेंट एंजाइटी टू टू गो अहेड, right? And that makes, I mean, that's not a very happy situation to be in. I mean, okay, थोड़ा बहुत चलता है, लेकिन हमेशा एकदम to be always be on your toes, to not waste any moment, to not be able to enjoy forever, that creates a big obstacle in our enjoyment, right? And then we realize, oh, ये वर्ल्ड ही ऐसा है भाई, तो अगर मेरे को एंजॉय करना है तो इस वर्ल्ड के बाहर जाना पड़ेगा। I need to practice spirituality and get out of this world to be able to enjoy nicely with Krishna, not like Krishna, right? Okay. And this example is there even in animals. You see, it starts from there. Jivo jivasya jivanam, shastra says, Srimad Bhagavatam says this. Jivo jivasya jivanam, एक लिविंग एंटिटी दूसरे लिविंग एंटिटी को खाएगा, तो अभी दूसरा लिविंग एंटिटी टेंशन में। अभी आप अगर इफ यू सी these birds and all or these animals, जब वो खाना पीना खा रहे होते हैं, they are not eating happily the way we are eating. अरे चलो आराम से बैठा है, आराम शांति से खा रहे हैं। No, they are under a lot of tension. You've seen how a hen eats or a sparrow eats, always they are under tension. अरे बाप रे, मेरे को कोई इधर से मारेगा, कोई उधर से मारेगा, कोई ऊपर से मारेगा, कोई नीचे से मारेगा, they are always under tension like that, because one living entity will be eaten by another living entity, right? That's the principle, and therefore they are always under tension. And same is there with human life as well. In human society, अभी देखो इधर से चाइना परेशान कर रहा है, उधर से नेपाल परेशान कर रहा है, उधर से पाकिस्तान परेशान कर रहा है, सब जगह से आदमी परेशानी कर रहा है, अंदर से कोरोना परेशान कर रहा है। Then so that is the nature of this human society. Everybody is being bothered by somebody or the other. Either there's a terrorist attack, or some neighbor is creating a problem, or somebody is attacking, either individuals or family or you or society or country, right? At whatever level, there is always this principle of fear. That's why you see now these days, like I have admitted my children to some school, and in that school there's these RFID chips, and only authorized people can enter certain areas, and there are CCTV cameras. Even in their school bus there is CCTV camera. Why all this is there? Because of fear that अरे कहीं कुछ गड़बड़ ना हो जाए, कहीं कोई टेररिस्ट ना आ जाए, कहीं कोई ये आके ये ना कर दे, कहीं वो आके वो ना कर दे, this whole so that actually does not leave us with a very happy comfortable state of mind. You see, we are always in fear, we are always in anxiety, we are always in tension. That's not a very happy place to be in. That's why we feel so comfortable when we come to our home, is it not? Right? We feel so comfortable when we come to our home because at least यहाँ पर मेरे को टेंशन नहीं है. Right? लेकिन वहां पर क्या है, in human form of life there is one problem. Now when we are thinking that okay, I want to be in a comfortable place, we cannot have a comfortable place without God. Please try to appreciate this point. If we really want comfortable situation, if we really want a comfortable a happy situation, we have to make God as a center of our life. Without God we cannot enjoy kingdom of God. Who tried to do that? Raman tried to do that. Raman wanted to enjoy Sita without Ram, is it not? Right? हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग we want Lakshmi without Narayan. अरे आपको लक्ष्मी चाहिए तो नारायण का पहले पूजा करिए, नारायण का पूजा करेंगे लक्ष्मी अपने आप आएगी, आना होगा तो. You see, so we cannot have kingdom of God without God. We cannot have Sita without Ram. That is not possible. And Ravan is an historical example to actually personify this tendency. Ravan personifies this tendency, and even till date, every year we celebrate Dashera, when we celebrate the killing of this evil from within us. दशहरा वाले दिन खाली बेचारा रावण के ऊपर हम लोग को नहीं बोलना चाहिए कि अरे बेचारा अच्छा आदमी था, एक दिमाग खराब हुआ उसका, उसकी वजह से देखो क्या हो गया. No, we should think about ourselves also, that oh Lord Ram, please kill the Ravan within us, right? Because our desire to enjoy is limited in this world. How much can we enjoy and how long can we enjoy? Just think about this. Okay, one very important point. We have from our body, in our body from top to bottom, we have so many body parts, is it not? Hardly there are 1 or 2 body parts which can give us enjoyment. All other body parts are sources of misery and sufferings. If you look at a body, do you look at a body as a source of enjoyment, or do you look at a body as source of suffering? There are hardly 1 or 2 ways this body can give enjoyment to us. On the other hand, there are infinite ways this body can make our life miserable. अरे थोड़ा नाक का नली इधर से पतला हो गया, थोड़ा इधर छेद हो गया, थोड़ा उधर कुछ हो गया, लंग्स में पानी घुस गया, कहीं भी थोड़ा भी इधर उधर थोड़ा कांटा चुभ गया, हाथ में पैर में कांटा चुभ गया, right? Infinite ways this body can make us miserable, right? And whatever that limited enjoyment this body offers, there also, how much can you enjoy? Let's say we like gulab jamun. How many gulab jamuns can you eat? Can you give 20 gulab jamuns? Chalo 20 kha liya, मान लो you are a special person. Can you eat 50 gulab jamuns? We cannot eat. How much can you enjoy? And how long can you enjoy? In fact, one day you try eating 50 gulab jamuns, the rest of the life you will not eat gulab jamun. This happens with almost everybody. In childhood, we eat something too much, which we like, and then later for the rest of our life, we start hating that thing, right? Because there is a limit to how much we can enjoy and how long we can enjoy. Right? So therefore, we have to understand that if we really want to be comfortable in this world, if we really want to be happy in this world, then we have to keep God in the center. We have to live a Krishna-centric life. We have to live a God-centric life. And we have to try to love Him and serve Him in whichever ways we can. And that would bring real peace and happiness to us. Otherwise, we will always be like this donkey, you see. This donkey, uske samne you are keeping a carrot, right? This person is keeping a carrot in front of the donkey, and donkey is thinking, I'll take one step and I will get the carrot. One step and I'll get the carrot. One step and I'll get the carrot. And this donkey, poor fellow, never gets the carrot. Similarly, in this world, we are thinking, oh, I do this, I'll become happy. I'll do this, I'll become happy. I'll do this, I'll become happy. We never become happy. Right? We only end up losing our entire life in search for happiness, but we never become happy. On the other hand, if from today itself, if we make Krishna as the center of our life, if we make sure that we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, every day in our life nicely, for whatever 10 minutes you are chanting, 20 minutes you are chanting, somebody is chanting 1 hour, somebody is chanting 2 hours, more than 2 hours you don't need to chant, right? Because we have so many other things to do as well. But the power of this chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so great that just by chanting 2 hours of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, we can achieve the ultimate perfection of human form of life. Yeah, so now this is one important point to note, and these are the last 2 slides, which we'll cover, and this whole topic will be over, right? So as I was telling, if you look at a pigeon or a sparrow or a hen eating food, you will always see they'll do like this while eating. They'll eat one dana, they'll do like this, because they're always afraid that, oh, somebody will kill me, somebody will, attack at me. But on the other hand, we have been given a lot of privileges in this world, is it not? We as humans, we have been given a lot of facilities by nature. We have been given a lot of privileges by nature. हम लोग अपने घर में आराम से शांति से बैठ के खाना खा सकते हैं. हमको डर नहीं है कि अरे मेरे को इधर से कोई मारेगा, उधर से कोई मारेगा. We have been given a lot of privileges, but the privileges we have been given, we are very special species, right? But we are special not to be able to rule over others, not to be able to exploit others. Like you see, the left hand side of the picture is an egocentric understanding of special, right? We are special means what? We can boss over everybody else. We are special means what? We can now kill everybody else. We are special means what? We can exploit everybody else. No, that is a wrong egocentric understanding, the left hand side. But the right hand side is the correct understanding, which is the ecosystem, the ecocentric understanding, wherein we all are different, neighbors, we are all different species living in this nature, and we all have to help each other. So yet humans are special, and when I say humans are special, it is in the sense that the human life affords facilities to live a peaceful life so that one can focus on the highest goal of life. Nature has freed us from lot of tension and anxiety in eating, mating, sleeping, and defending like animals. Why nature has freed us of that anxiety? Nature has freed us of that anxiety so that we can focus on something higher. We can focus on something better. Otherwise, eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, all the other species of life are giving their entire life to focus on. But for us, those things have been made easier. For us, those things have been made more comfortable. Why? So that we can focus on the higher goal of life. We can understand this from a very, very nice example. Look at a peon in a office, right? अगर कोई एक ऑफिस में कोई क्लर्क हो या पियून हो, क्लर्क छोड़ो, पियून पे आ जाओ ना, एक पियून हो. पियून बेचारा दिन भर सुबह से शाम तक 9 बजे से लेके 5 बजे तक इधर से उधर भागता रहता है कंटिन्यूअस. वो तो बेचारा कंप्यूटर में ईमेल भी एक्सेस नहीं कर पाता होगा. उसको 10 मिनट का फ्री टाइम ईमेल एक्सेस करने के लिए नहीं मिलता है पियून को, राइट? वो इधर से उधर भागता रहता है, सारा टाइम कमांड लेता रहता है. तो इफ यू सी दैट वे, पियून इज डूइंग अ लॉट ऑफ हार्ड वर्क. फिर भी उसका सैलरी कितना है? 5,000 रुपया, 8,000 रुपया पर मंथ. On the other hand, a high court judge or a supreme court judge, he comes to judge, maybe 2-3 days में एक बार आएगा वो आधा घंटा के लिए, right? And he is getting lakhs of salaries per month, right? Now, apparently, it appears a peon is doing much more work, but he is getting much lesser salary, and a judge is doing a very less work, but he is getting much more salary. Why? Because he has a higher responsibility. He is taking higher responsibility, and therefore he has been given higher privileges. Is it not? Similarly, we as humans, we have been given higher privileges in this creation. We have been given higher opportunities in this creation. For what? Not to misuse our life just to live like animals, but to exercise the higher responsibility of breaking free from the conditions, breaking free from the conditionings, and rising above the competition to perfect our life by loving and serving God, to live a God-centric life and execute this higher responsibility of perfecting our life. So human beings' higher duty is to attain eternal happiness. Otherwise, we'll be like these animals. Yeah, okay, we'll be animals in coat, suit, boot, and coat and tie, right? But then ultimately our activities will be animalistic. But if we work for higher levels of happiness, then we'll be actually becoming humans. I would like to just summarize this uniqueness of humans, right? By these four things, A, B, C, D. What makes humans special? The first thing which makes human special, so please remember this ABCD always. What is the first thing which makes human special? A, ability to inquire. We saw in the conditionings wala section that the purpose of human form of life is to make relevant spiritual inquiries so that we can revive our original spiritual nature and we can rise the conditions which have been imposed by this body on us. Second, sorry, there is a one second. Let me just edit it right here. Yeah. So second is bliss. That means human form of life has been made to work towards higher and higher levels of bliss, higher and higher levels of happiness. We are not supposed to give our entire life for the happiness which is received out of eating, mating, sleeping and defending. अरे भाई सोने में बहुत आनंद आता है इसलिए मैं दिन भर सोऊंगा. तो प्रकृति बोलेगी, नेचर बोलेगा भैया तुमको सोना ही था, पहले बोलना चाहिए था, मैं तुमको पोलर बियर बनाऊंगा, 6 महीना सो, क्या अलार्म क्लॉक का भी झंझट नहीं, स्लीप फॉर 6 months पीसफुली. हम बोलेंगे अरे भैया मेरे को नॉनवेज खाने में बड़ा आनंद आता है, प्रकृति बोलेगी अरे भैया तुमको नॉनवेज खाने में आनंद आता है, पहले बोलना का चाहिए था मेरे को, तुमको टाइगर बनाऊंगा, आराम से खाओ, कोई बॉइलिंग का झंझट नहीं, कुकिंग का झंझट नहीं, मसाला डालने का झंझट नहीं, दौड़ने का, खाने का, चबाने का, आराम करने का, इंटेस्टाइन में भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा, कैंसर भी नहीं होगा, हार्ट डिजीज नहीं होगा, कुछ नहीं होगा. Right? So human life, we are supposed to work towards higher and higher levels of bliss, the spiritual happiness. Right? The third thing which makes human special is the choices. Other species, they cannot exercise choices. They have been programmed to act in particular ways, but we can think about what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, and we can exercise our choice to do the right thing. That is what makes humans special. And fourth is determination. What separates humans from animals is the ability to be determined to achieve our goals, right? So humans have been given this special power by nature, by God, that if we make certain goals, we can cultivate determination to achieve those goals. And I would like to end with this conclusion that if we live a life which is not God-centric, if we live a materialistic life, it is actually a miserable life. Materialistic life without God is miserable life. A family that prays together stays together. Otherwise, there'll be individual problems, there'll be family problems, there'll be society problems, there'll be humanity problems, there'll be global problems, there'll be earth problems, there'll be Mars problems, and the list of problems will keep increasing. But when we live a God-centric life, I think I gave this analogy last time also, but I would like to repeat this analogy. If I live life which is me-centric, if you live life which is you-centric, then your circle and my circle will collide. But if I live life which is God-centric, if you live life which is God-centric, then our circles will only make nice patterns. They will not collide. They will not create destructive interference. They'll create constructive interference, right? So the conclusion is no God, no peace. No God, no peace. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Let me very quickly recap the second portion of this presentation which we talked about. In the first session, we talked about conditions. Today, we began with conditionings, and we saw that how conditionings are formed by impressions, and they create tendencies and they create thought patterns. There are 6 anarthas in our heart, which create bad habits, which are the one form of bad conditionings which we have. We saw what are the 3 kinds of bad habits: simple, serious, and grave. In grave bad habits, we saw these 4 bad habits. Why they are bad? Because they are against the pillars of religion. Therefore, these 4 things are called as pillars of sin. We saw in details why these have been called as pillars of sin. And we saw how they are just completely self-destructive and we should stay away from them. And then we saw that how we can actually give up bad conditionings. We can give up bad conditionings by watching our inputs. We have to make sure that we give good inputs to ourselves. Then we saw that how another form of bad conditionings is in form of bhaya, moha, and shoka. But if we hook ourselves to God, stop that noise. If we hook ourselves to God, then we are able to rise above this bhaya, moha, and shoka, and we are able to live a very happy and comfortable life of peace. Then we saw, these 4 things about belief, desire, discrimination, and discipline. We saw how our mind and senses are meant to cheat us. So therefore, we should not let ourselves to be dragged by mind and senses. Rather, we should learn to say no. We should exhibit self-control. We saw these 5 examples from nature. And then we address this very, very important point that, Arey sir, you are talking about saying no to mind. You are talking about ye karo, ye na karo. ये तो आप वैसे ही बोल रहे हो जैसे मेरे मम्मी और मेरी पिताजी बोलते हैं जिससे दूर भाग के मैं इधर आया. Then what about my freedom then? We discussed that how these things are not against freedom, but they are prerequisite to our freedom. And then towards the end, we saw how another sea which is there in this world, which is against our enjoyment or our happiness, is this cutthroat competition, this hard struggle for survival. You see, they say survival of the fittest, is it not? So this hard struggle for material existence. But when we go to spiritual world, when we revive our original spiritual nature, when we make God as the center of our life, we will become more and more peaceful, more and more happy, because spiritual world is called Vaikuntha, that place which does not have any anxiety. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Let us end this and let us have questions now.